Did you know that in London, Ontario right now, homeowners can legally build up to 4 units on a single lot, no rezoning required? And on top of that, the city just approved buildings up to 45 stories downtown. London's housing rules have changed more in the last 2 years than they did in the previous 20. If you own a property here or you're thinking about buying, you need to understand what is happening because it's going to change what your neighborhood looks like and what your property can actually do for you. I'm Shane Harrison with the Realty Firm Incorporated here in London, Ontario. Each week I put out practical, no fluff content for buyers and sellers in London and the surrounding area. Today we're talking about London's shift towards flexible, higher density housing, what's really changed and what's in the pipeline and what actually means if you own a home or if you're looking to buy one. Let's start with what is already locked in, because a lot of people miss this. Back in 2024, London made 2 significant moves. First, they amended the London Plan, that's the city's big picture policy document, to allow much taller and denser buildings in specific areas. We're talking up to 45 stories in the downtown core, up to 35 stories near transit villages, 15 stories along major urban corridors like Richmond, Western, and Dundas, up to 4 stories on neighborhood connector streets. That's a major shift from where the rules were before. Second, and this one affects a lot more people directly, they overhauled the zoning bylaw to allow homeowners to create up to 4 units per property on most low-rise lots. They also removed the old 5-bedroom cap city-wide and with some exceptions near campuses. And here's the key part. There's a lot of these additional units, basement suites, garage conversions, backyard coach houses, you don't need a full zoning amendment anymore. Permitted what's called as of right. You still have to meet the building code and site conditions, but you don't need to go through a lengthy approval process just to add a legal unit. It's a big deal. So those are the rules. Here's what they look like in practice. There's a file going to London Committee of Adjustments on June 25th, a property at Stanley Street. The owner wants to convert the existing home into 3 units. The lot is 435 square meters when the standard minimum is 550, frontage is 10.8 when the minimum is 12, and the driveway is 2.8 meters versus 3 meter standard. On paper, this is a lot. Technically doesn't meet the usual amendments, but they're asking for minor variances. On the city is signaling that willingness to support this kind of small lot intensification in established neighborhoods. If it gets approved, and the application like this are increasingly getting approved, it becomes a concrete example of how even a non-ideal lot can support more housing. And that's not the only thing in the pipeline. There's a rezoning notice from 2026 for a site that would allow 4 14-story apartment buildings at 860 units at a density of 275 units per hectare. There are also ongoing zoning files along Fanshawe Corridor, Park Road East. City isn't just talking about intensification, it's approving it file by file. So why does this matter as you as a homeowner? A few reasons. First, if you're in an older established neighborhood, the rules around what you can do with your lot have quietly expanded. A legal basement suite, a converted garage, or a backyard unit, these just used to be complicated. Now for a lot of properties, they're just a realistic option. That could mean rental income to offset your mortgage or help with a renewal if your rate is going up. This could mean bringing aging parents or adult kids into the property without having anyone to move. Second, this affects how people are going to value their property going forward. Lots that once looked too small or awkward to do anything with, like the Stanley Street example, now have more potential in the eyes of buyers and investors. If your lot can support additional units, that's going to factor into what it's worth over time. Third, if you're buying in London right now, it's worth asking about zoning flexibility in your neighborhood, and you're considering, not because necessarily you want to build anything, but because the value of that opportunity is real, and it's only going to matter more over the next decade. Now I'll be direct about one side of it. It isn't all upside. More density on existing street means more cars, more noise, and the change in neighborhood character. The city is also tightening some of the rules. In late 2026, proposal would cap additional units at 2 bedrooms each and limit total bedrooms across the main unit and any ARUs to prevent overcrowding. So the flexibility has limits, and those limits matter if you're planning around it. Here's a short version. London is in the middle of a significant shift in how it's growing. The rules are already changing the math on what existing properties can do, what gets built along the major corridors, and what buyers and investors are going to look for. This isn't a future thing, it's happening right now. If you want to talk through any of what this means for you or your specific property, or you're trying to figure out what to look for when you're buying, reach out. You can find me at www.shaneharrison.ca or give me a call at 519-870-8104. If you found this useful, feel free to subscribe. I put out practical, no fluff content for buyers and sellers in London and area every week. I'm Shane Harrison with the Realty Firm in London, Ontario. See you next week.